After more than 10 years, Enlightenment DR17, or short E17, has been released, and in this short screencast I want to show you how E17 looks like and what makes it so special. And I have already configured E17 to my liking, so I have configured it to look like Windows 95 or Windows 2000 more or less, with a panel on the bottom and a menu on the far bottom left. And if you would like to configure E17, or if you would like to install E17, the first thing you will see is a short introduction wizard which allows you to set up your language, your localization, your keyboard layout and some other settings, and then you have the option to configure your E17 to your liking. I will share my configuration file with you so that you can have or start off where I left off. And this is possible because E17 has a nice little application or nice little option which allows you to share profiles, configuration profiles, with other users. Just a simple directory that you have to expand into one hidden configuration directory of E17, and then you have the option to just enable this profile. So first of all, let's start off with the main menu, and I have configured my main menu to be on the bottom left. You have also the option to just click on the desktop. In the standard configuration it will then show up also the main menu. The main menu consists of applications menu, where you can find all your applications that you've installed. As you can see here on my computer, I have many applications installed. Then you have a navigate option which allows you to navigate through your file system, so I can directly go to my home directory in my subfolders, just like wallpaper folder. I just click on it and it will open up the file manager. So E17 comes also with a file manager, and as you can see here, the file manager has such capabilities just like presenting you with a thumbnail view of the images, not only JPEG images but also some other images. As you can see, when I hover over them, you get a nice little preview with the resolution, the size, the owner, the permissions and the modified date, so some extra metadata that you can just simply then see there. There's also the option to just preview files, just like text files in this case. You can see I can now see in the pop-up what's written in the text file. So this is the EFM, the Enlightenment File Manager. It has some nice other capabilities. As you can see here on the left, you have a nice bookmarks overview with home, desktop, root, temp, directory and all your partitions or USB sticks and so on. You can also find those partitions and USB sticks under your navigate option here, as you can see here. Then there's the everything starter in the menu, which I would talk about later. Take screenshot. You can take a screenshot. This will open up a nice little screenshot application where you can set the quality, perfect, high, medium and so on. You can share the screenshot. This will be then uploaded to website and you get a link, so you can share this link with your friends. You have the option to configure virtual desktops, like I have here. I have configured 4 virtual desktops. I can set more virtual desktops if I like to, vertically or horizontally. I can set a flip animation to pane, for example. This looks like this. You can see that the windows just simply swipe out or swipe in if I change my desktop. And this, by the way, runs without any real compositing running. Then you have a window menu which shows all open windows. You have the Enlightenment menu, which shows you information about Enlightenment, about the theme, and very nice, you can restart Enlightenment. Very handy if something gets stuck or everything is just simply not running the way it should be. You can just simply restart Enlightenment. This will not close any open applications. It will just relaunch the window manager so that you can work on with your open applications again. And then there's the settings menu, which I will talk to you later, because this is one major point in E17. You can configure the hell out of it. And the system menu, which allows you to power off, reboot, hibernate and suspend, lock or log out on of your system. So back to the file manager. The file manager has some nice capabilities. First of all, you have the option to set favorites just by clicking here, this little heart button, and it will get you to your favorites. As you can see here, these are basically the favorites that I have on my left panel here, and I can add some other favorites if I want to, just the way I like to. I can go back. I also have the option to quickly navigate to a folder, just like I want to navigate now in my my installation folder of E17. I can just type in /opt E17 share, hit enter, /opt E17 share, hit enter. Normally it should just go to this directory. In this case it's not working, I don't know why. Just let's try it this way. Opt E17, as you can see, it's working. Perhaps I just turned it off in the settings. Just let me go to the settings. You can see that there are some settings in the file manager, just like, for example, show hidden files, remember ordering, single click activation, secure deletion, and you have some file manager settings. You can set the different views like grid icons, custom icons, or list view, the icon size. You have the option to just simply display file extensions, full path and title. For example, icons on the desktop, you can turn them on and off if you want to. Toolbar and sidebar. Sorting, you can set the sorting options in here and the behavior options, just like open DS in place or open DS in new windows. Use single click, use CP plus RM instead of moving files. Use alternative selection modifiers, very handy if you come from the Mac side of things and you want or you have a Mac keyboard layout. Allow navigation on the desktop, and some different settings to devices, just like, for example, that you can show devices on the desktop. You can mount volumes on insert, just like a USB stick or something like this, and you can open the file manager even after the device is mounted. You have some tooltips. You can show the tooltips. If you don't like the tooltips with this little previews, you can just turn it off if you'd like to, and you can show the or set the delay of the tooltip and the size in percentage. So these are the settings for the file manager. And yeah, you can navigate to directories. As you can see here, you have even for let me go to the data directory backgrounds. You have even for the edgy files, so the special files in E17 used for configurations, used for themes, used for wallpapers. Just like in this case, you have previews for them. Even for them, they are basically something like compiled files, I would say. And you can see there's a nice preview of every image here. You can hover over it. And in this case, you can see there's no preview available in the tooltip. And you can see, yeah, these are the basic wallpapers that E17 comes with. So this is basically the file manager. Let's go to the Everything launcher, because this is very nice, very handy. You can start the Everything launcher either by just going to the menu, hit run everything, or just by the default key combination Alt Escape, which will launch the Everything launcher. And in this case, you can see some applications that are already launched in this menu. I can navigate with my cursor keys here. You can see that I also have the option to just navigate into folders, just like my games folder, and search for action games, just like Jump and Bump. I can go back here if I'd like to. So this is basically an application launcher, but it has more settings to it. You can go to applications here, so you have the normal application menu, just like the application menu that you have here in your main menu. And you have the option to just execute some other commands, just like, for example, what I don't have in my application menu is xterm, so I type in xterm and it allows me to then just simply open up xterm. But this is not all what the Everything Launcher has to offer. There are some other settings. If you go to settings, you can also search your settings, your E17 settings, because sometimes those settings are a little bit confusing. Especially because they have many options and many subdirectories and many sub configuration points. You can search them here just by simply typing, for example, background or wallpaper in this case, better. and it will provide you either, of course I have a wallpaper directory, it will also give you the option to search or navigate through your wallpaper directory. As you can see here, now we have a built-in file manager in this little thingy here as well, and you have the option of course to change the wallpaper just by clicking on wallpaper. This is the settings menu, which allows you then to set up your wallpaper. In this case I have a nice little wallpaper, I think that fits the time of the year a little bit, lanterns in the dark, so very nice. So let's get back to the everything launcher. You can start almost everything. Let's go back to the settings. I want to show you one of the first settings in E17 to the launcher. So let me go to the launcher here, and you have the option to just set up the everything launcher. As you can see here, the plugins that are loaded are applications plugins to search your application menu, files to search your files, and some other plugins like the start menu and so on. Let me get to the everything configuration, and you can see here you have also very nice configurations. Just like, for example, you can select quick navigation with the VI style or Emacs style, so HJKLNPMI. You have sortings in here by usage and so on. You have some plugins. This is really cool. You can set some different plugins, just like, for example, you can search for a recent file. You have a calculator built in. You can store text in your everything launcher. You have some other plugins that you can enable, just like, for example, search the web for YouTube videos and so on. So there are lots and lots of things that you can select here. You have some action plugins, because this is also very handy. So let me go to, if I want to open up Xterm, or let me open up the Enlightenment terminal editor, terminology in this case. I don't want to open it up as a normal user, I want to launch it as a super user or something. I hit tab, I have now other launch options, just like, for example, the default one, launching this command, open a file, run in terminal, which is very handy for graphical applications in this case, add or create a new application entry, and this is what I want to do now, or run with sudo. So let me just first show you how you can add new application entries. This is the easiest way. Just type in your command that you know that this is of course an application, and then you can just hit tab and click on new application entry, and you can just create a new application. In this case it is filling out my application name to terminology. I can change the icon if I'd like to terminology. I can change some general settings, just like the generic name, window class, and so on. And the desktop file that should be created and where it should be created, you can see there's the location. And you can set some options, just like show in menus. I give it a name, terminology, and hit apply, hit close, and now in my menu somewhere, my menu is big, so let's search for terminology. You can see I now have two terminologies. One is the executable command, and the one is the application file that I just created. So this is the everything launcher. This is not all about the everything launcher. It is extendable via plugins, and you can do a lot more with the everything launcher. But back to the topic, back to the settings of E17. So let's go to the main menu, settings. I will click on settings panel to show you all the settings in one overview. So you have some basic settings for the look and feel. You can set the wallpaper. You can also set the application theme for third-party applications, just like the GTK theme and the icon theme for GTKs. You can set the basic theme of Enlightenment E17. Also by default it comes with the theme called Dark, but you can also download some other themes, and they will normally personal. Click on this import button, and this allows you to then import different themes if you have them stored somewhere else. You have some advanced options, so if you have different themes installed, you can select, okay, I want this border from this theme, I want this background from this theme, and so on. So very nice. You have some color settings. You can set some colors for the border frame, for example. You can set custom colors here and here, just like you want to. You have some font settings. You can check fonts, change every font in E17 with one click. So enable custom font classes, change your font, change your size, and now then you have your font. Or you can click on advanced options, and you have some other options, just like, for example, I only want to change the title bar font, or hinting fallback options, just like for example I want to enable hinting or some hinting options. Then you have some borders. You can change also the borders in here to different borders. In this case, they are almost every border looks alike, I would say. You have some transition options, very nice for the startup or for the desk change. So if you, this is also very nice. You can in the wallpapers, by the way, and under advanced, you have the option to set the wallpaper to all desktops or only this desktop. So let me do this quickly for you. Just let me make this a little bit smaller. So this is now my desktop. I would change to, by the way, also very handy, just hold the window and go to desktop 2 by hitting Alt F2, and it will then bring the window to my desktop 2. And now I can change a different to a different wallpaper. Just like for example, I want this wallpaper to be on my desktop 2. Now I have this wallpaper on desktop 2, and if I go to desktop 1, you can see it switches back to another wallpaper, to my original wallpaper. And you can see it's a nice transition from above to down, and this is the setting that you can basically set up in your settings under transitions for desk change or background change in this case. You have some scaling options, very nice. If you want to scale up all the fonts and all the windows, you can have them scaled here. You have also some advanced options in here if you want to set some advanced stuff in here. Startup, so you can change also the splash screen on startup. You can disable the splash screen on startup if you don't like it. Drop shadow, this is the Pullman's solution for compositing, I would say. In this case I only enabled this for drop shadowing window effects. It's not a real compositing thing. This is basically because I really have a low powered computer in here and it does not work well with compositing. But you have the option to enable compositing, and this is one of the major advanced features of E17, because under extensions you have the option to load modules. And this is very, very handy. So you can see I have various different models already loaded, so very easily to see. Backlight, for example, this one here on the panel, which allows me to set my monitor backlighting. Clock, which you can see also in the panel. I also have some other options, just like for example the keyboard layout changer, which is enabled in here. Can set up moon watching, what is it, gadget for E17, which is with the current phase of the moon, for example. The pager to switch or allow me to switch between different virtual desktops. Screenshotting application, the start button in my panel, so you can enable and disable all those modules. If you have more modules disabled, everything launches faster, everything starts faster and uses less memory. You have some system tools, just like for example the battery, the connection manager, CPU, scaling CPU, frequency, and the debus extension, the mixer, the temperature. You have some look and feel stuff, and here you can enable also compositing, which allows you to have very nice effects. You have some file options, just like for example you can enable the places option, which allows you to manage volumes, devices attached to a system, which also works with other file managers. So you can just simply put in some other file managers, just like PCManFM or Thuna or what you like. You have some launcher options. This is what I basically showed you, but you can see here I have the option for everything launcher to control Empress players, so music players or video players that have this Empress backend, basically to allow them to control the media player. Everything Pigeon, which allows you to send files and search for people that are stored in your Pigeon contact list. Everything Places, which allows you to search the Places plugin, which is basically in here. Everything Wallpaper, which allows you to set up the wallpaper for your desktop. Everything Web Search, which allows you to find stuff on Wikipedia, Google, and so on, but just by typing in G or W in your Everything Launcher, and it will then list up all the stuff that it found, and you can just simply then click on a link and it will bring you directly to the website that you are looking for. And Quick Access, which allows you to just simply enable a key combination for a specific window, and this window then hides automatically, just like a boss key, for example. a key, just press a key combination to hide a window or to bring it up. I have some core components, just like, for example, tiling. So E17 also has the option to be used just like Awesome or Xmonad, just like a tiling window manager that automatically stores or automatically positions windows to your liking. There's some mobile settings, which is pretty cool. So if you want to use E17 on a touchscreen device, you can just set it up with the Illumi options or Illumi modules, which allows you to create different or to have a virtual keyboard. You have a nice little home screen for your touchscreen device, and some other options just like Bluetooth and so on. And you have the settings module, which allows you to, even if you don't want to set up everything, so if you want to create a profile for just like your grandma or something like this, and you know, okay, my grandma only changes perhaps the wallpaper and nothing else, you can just set up that she only has the option to set up the wallpaper and nothing else. Basically here, just by unloading all the other settings that are available for E17. In this case, you can see I have all loaded here because I like to configure a lot. So these are basically the extensions or the modules in this case. So the panel in E17 is called Shelf, and you have the option here under extensions to set up shelves or to just simply configure your shelf. In this case, I only have one shelf, one panel on the bottom. You can see this is the standard shelf. I can set the contents of the shelf. So here I can set all my modules that I loaded before, and I can, some of them I can place in my shelf. Just like you can see here, I have my system, I have my task button, I have a keyboard layout changer in here. I have CPU frag, I can enable it if I want to. I have settings, I have connection manager, battery, and so on. And I have some other settings, just like, for example, I can set the panel settings or the shelf settings in this case above everything, so that the panel or the shelf in this case is above every window, below windows, below everything. You can set the position, as you can see here, to various different positions. You can set the size, you can shrink the content. Shrink to the content. You can shrink the panel or the shelf to the content of the shelf itself. So in my case now I have only 3 buttons open, so the rest here, this free space will be then shrinked. I have some styles, so various different themes have also alternative styles for setting up your panel. So this will change the background or the background color or the background image used for your shelf. And you have some auto hide options in here as well as you have also the option to show this shelf only on specific desktops. This is basically, these are the shelf options. You have some mixer options in here. You can see in this case I can launch the mixer. You can see that I have options to set up various different cards, the channel outputs, and of course the volume. And also, what's very nice, E17 has a nice volume manager built in, or they are grabbing the XF keys. So if I just press on volume down here, you can see that a nice little pop-up turns up and shows me my volume. And I can just click it away. There are some other options as well. You can see I have some apps options. So here I can set personal application launcher. This is basically the option to set up a new launcher that I showed you in the Everything launcher. I have the option to just simply create some or choose some favorite applications. I have the option to set some IBA applications, so for quick launching applications. I have also the option to set up screen lock applications, so applications that should appear on the screen lock or above the screen lock, so I can interact with them, just for example a chat application or something like this, without unlocking. And I have some screen unlocking applications, so applications that automatically I think should appear when the screen unlocks. Restart applications and startup applications, so you can set up your applications here that should auto start, just like for example I can set network manager or something like this to auto start, or the XFC volume daemon or something like, or SSH agent and so on. So I can set them to auto start and then also order them, so which should start first and so on. I have some default applications, so I can set default applications just like browser, email, file, trash, or terminal. In this case, I think terminal is set to xterm, not terminology. I don't know why. And I have some general options for the file manager, set different MIME types, and for example Java files should be opened up with different applications and so on. Desktop environment options, just like for example I can set to load the GNOME services on login or the KDE services on login. This is very handy if you have some GNOME or KDE applications and you want the background services of those desktops to load so that your application loads faster after E17 started. You have some screen options. You can set up virtual desktops, screen setup. So you have, if you have more than one screen set up, you can see I have the option here. You can see my monitor. I can see the frequency of the monitor. I can make it smaller. I can turn it up and down and so on. So I have various different options to set up my my multi-monitor setup. Screen lock options, so I can set up screen locking. I can set up this keyboard layout for my screen lock, which is also pretty nice. The login box and so on. So some options in here. Blanking, backlight options, window options, just like for example display windows, display information on moving, for example. So if I move the window, you can see in the middle I now get the information where I moved the window to. Pretty nice. And some other options. Window focusing, if you don't like click to focus, you can just change window under the mouse and then it will follow, the focus follows the mouse basically. And some other window options in here. You have also window process management, so if a window just don't react, it will automatically give you a nice little pop-up and ask you to kill this application. I have some menu options in here. I would like to set up, or you can set up if you want to list favorites and applications under your main menu, and how you want them to list, so by name or by comments, for example. Sometimes it's better to just for inexperienced users to just turn on the comments and don't focus on the name so much, because the name not in every application says what it really does, but the comments mostly do. And you can set some the applications menu. You can see you can also not only use the Enlightenment default, but also the XFCE application menu, the Mate, the LXD, KDE application menu, KDE4 application menu, GNOME, and so on. And even the daemon menu is selectable here. You have some auto scroll. Auto scroll is also nice. Let me just, I think it is this setting. So if you hit the border of your screen and you just open up the submenu, if you go then in here and want to, you can see it automatically scrolls the menu and pushes it away, so you can see and go through your menu again, which is a nice little feature that you can set up under, I think, auto scrolling in here. I have some miscellaneous features as well. And yeah, language features, you can change the desk log language settings, input methods, some advanced features, just like for example you have the option to signal bindings, so mouse clicking events, you can just simply bind them to different actions. You have syscon events. Syscon is in this case the this little lockout and power off menu. You can set the size of the menu and the default actions. So you can set a timeout to 5 seconds in this case, for example, so to perform a default setting in this case. You have some performance options, just like for example you can set the frame rate, the application priority, you can set the caches if you'd like to. Normally I would leave this to the default settings, and some other options, but you can configure it. This is pretty nice. Power management options, as you can see here, I have some power management options as well here. Search directories for data, images, fonts, so I can set up directories that are searched for backgrounds. For example, if I have a big background selection already in place somewhere, I can set it up in here. And some other options, just like battery meter and advanced options for the battery meter, alerting if the battery is running low, and so on. You can use different backends for the hardware detection. which is also pretty nice. So this is basically E17's configuration power. And it's not over, as you can see. I could, I think, explain it hours and hours and hours and hours. You can see they have also some edge bindings. For example, if you if you hit an edge of your screen, if you want to flip over to the next screen and so on, this is all set up here. You have some key bindings, so you can see I have all my XF86 key bindings in here, and you can set them up to different options in here. Let me set up, I don't know if it's set up. It's not set up. Control Alt T, for example. Let me search for it. It's set up to open up a terminal in this case. I just create here a launch terminal. You can also change all the settings in here, just like, for example, if you don't like Alt F keys to switch between virtual desktops, you can set them up to close window, Alt F4 for example, or Alt F2 to open up the everything launcher if you'd like to. You have mouse bindings. Yeah, you can also set up mouse bindings, so you can set up that on the right click it should open up the main menu in this case. This is what I prefer normally, because I don't like to left click on the desktop and it's showing up a menu. I don't like it, so just changed it here. You can change it as well. You can also set up what's happening if you right click and hold the Alt key or the Control key and so on. So this is also very handy, so you can set up almost everything in here, which is pretty nice. ACPI binding settings, just like for brightness down, power button and so on. You can bind them also in for specific things. You have some touch options, just like, for example, enable thumb scroll in here, mouse options and keyboard options. Yeah, I think this concludes everything. There are some other options here for the file manager as well, notifications options, so where I want a notification to show up, what notification should show up, normal and critical in this case. And yeah, this is basically all the configuration power of E17. And don't forget, you have the option to set up all your modules that you loaded. There are some gadgets also. You have the option to just simply store some of the modules also on your desktop. So let me go to settings, gadgets, available layers, in this case background and hover, and some background options as well. So configure layer here, for example, my background. I want to store some, for example, the clock on my background. As you can see here, now I have a clock. I can resize the clock, so I have the option to just simply configure my desktop just to my liking. Right click and it's stored in here. You can set up some different modules, just like, for example, EFM operation window info, which allows you to store or see all the operation information when you copy files or when you move files and so on. You can also set up the everything starter on the desktop. As you can see here, this is a nice little logo. So if you don't like a panel, you don't like the normal menu, you can just simply use a logo in here, place it on the middle on your desktop and just click on it, and normally it should open up the everything starter. There it is, and then you can work with the everything starter. You can set up the mixer, start menu, system, tasks, everything on your desktop as well, what you have in your panel. And you have some advanced options, just like, for example, you can set up the loaded gadgets. You can remove them, just like, for example, I want to remove the everything starter, removed, and you can set up some other widgets as well. So this is basically E17. I hope you enjoyed this little overview of E17. There's more to it. So if you want to look more or deeply into E17, just go to the enlightenment.org website. I think there are some distributions there listed. The most known to me are Bodhi Linux and Snow Linux E17. Those have the newest E17 window managers on board, so you can test and try it out. Don't try out older versions because they are a little bit buggy and don't provide all the features and all the nice little themes that I have or showed you in here on my nice little backgrounds and so on. So I hope you enjoyed this screencast, and thanks for watching.